What is up, guys? It's George with Holler FPV. I'm gonna run you through our GoPro 9 settings today. We've been using this thing on a consistent basis for quite some time now. It just came out a couple months ago. There's things we like about it, things we don't like about it. We're definitely using a variety of settings for different things, so we'll run through those as well. If you guys have any questions, please reach out in the comments below. Also, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. We're putting out tons of FPV content, so stick around and yeah, hope you like what you see. All right, so these are our GoPro 9 settings when we know we're also gonna be using RealSteady Go in post. All right, so we're gonna run it through on our phone app for you. I think this is the easiest way to show you guys the settings, and you can pause it, screenshot it, so it's easy for you to see all the settings at once. All right, first, we're gonna do our resolution at 4K 4:3. This gives us a taller image than 4K 16:9. It's gonna let RealSteady Go give you a way more stabilized clip because it has more of a picture to work with as opposed to shooting in 4K 16:9. For frames per second, we shoot 24. Lens, we like to shoot it on wide. All right, really big thing here. Make sure you have hypersmooth off. A lot of people will slip up on this and be like, oh man, why isn't RealSteady Go working in my clip? It's because you have hypersmooth on. I wish you could turn this thing off and on after you film the clip, but it's not the case right now. So make sure you have this off, or when you import your clip into RealSteady Go, it will not work. You're gonna wanna have your bitrate on high. Shutter is you're gonna wanna have it be 1/48. When shooting 24 frames a second, I love having my shutter at 1/48. It gives us tons of motion blur, super cinematic feel. Next, we're gonna have ISO. You always wanna make sure your ISO min and ISO max are the same number. If not, your GoPro is gonna fluctuate exposure between whatever your minimum ISO is and your ISO max is. We want that exposure to be locked and it's not changing. So get that thing down to 100. 100 ISO is also gonna give you the smallest amount of grain possible. GoPro doesn't really have a native ISO. It's basically a keep the ISO as low down as you can kind of game, and you're gonna get the cleanest image you can. For outdoor shooting, we always shoot 55K. If it's a cloudy or super dreary day, maybe lots of blues in the sky, we'll shoot 6,000, but for the most part, it's 5,500. And at night, if we're shooting outdoors or in a studio and we're using tungsten lighting, or you're outside at night and you're shooting under some street lamps or in a city, shoot 3,200K. Sharpness is gonna be low. We like to keep our color flat. It's gonna give you the best dynamic range and the most options in post for color grading. Raw audio, we keep it on low just in case we wanna use any of the drone audio, and low seems to be low enough that the propellers and any other noises coming off the quad aren't annoyingly loud. Wind, we just keep on auto, and that is about it for those settings. All right, second are gonna be our GoPro Hero 9 settings when we know we are not gonna be using RealSteady Go and we want this shot to look as good as it can look straight out of the GoPro. This is a really cool look for when you're not looking for that super smooth, gimbal, floaty, RealSteady look, and you want a little bit more of a raw, organic look coming off your GoPro for your shots. So we will shoot in either 4K 4:3 or 5K, and then we're gonna also keep this at 24 frames a second. Lens is gonna be set to linear. If I'm not shooting a clip I know I'm gonna put through RealSteady Go, I really like to use linear. It's more of a 20 millimeter lens equivalent, and it really gets rid of that GoPro warp, and it just has a really neat look to it. It's the furthest GoPro looking GoPro setting that I feel like you can put on your GoPro. Hypersmooth, we like to turn on. I haven't used hypersmooth boost enough to recommend it, but when using linear mode and when we know we're not gonna run it through RealSteady, I do like to have a little bit of hypersmooth on. Yes, you do get some oscillations and almost a jello effect sometimes when your flying gets pretty sloppy or if you're getting through a hairy scenario. I like to cut around it. I think that a little bit of that stabilization is nice, and I'll show you some clips right now that we've shot with these settings. And then as far as the rest of these settings, we basically keep it all the same. Want bitrate on high, shutter at 148, ISOs matching, white balance depending on shooting inside or outside, sharpness low, color flat, raw audio low. All right, that is everything I've got for you as far as GoPro Hero 9 settings go. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Also smash that like button and subscribe. It would mean a lot. We'll be coming out with a ton more content. Subscribe, we'll be putting out more content. Thanks again.